You mean to down here.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot to flip it.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Claudia Villeneuve, and I am a supervisor at Enbridge Pipelines. And a few months ago, they gave me the title of this presentation. Here, talk about this. I would have never come up with a title that long. The good thing is that it tells everything in one sentence. Lessons in succeeding in the corporate world that engineering school never taught you. So before I start, I want to say that I was a very lucky speaker to get the after lunch session. I know what we had for lunch, so I'm guessing 37.5% of you are going to fall asleep. So I promise you I'm going to make this talk as animated as possible to keep us awake. So, safety moment is an Enbridge tradition. All workers are trained that when there's a meeting of 3 or more people, we talk about safety for a few minutes. And today is no exception. There's at least 3 Enbridge people in this room anyway. So, safety moment comes courtesy of the white stuff. In about 2 weeks, we're going to get it. I refuse to say the name. So with it comes ice. And walking on ice is very tricky. The normal way we walk is almost like our legs are diagonal to each other. This is the normal human walk, which means that the force of your weight is on a diagonal. Who's a civil engineer here? Okay. What happens when you have a vertical or a diagonal force? You have 2 components, the vertical component and the horizontal one. The vertical one is good because it keeps you standing solid on the ice. But the horizontal one is parallel to the slipping plane. So down you go. So the trick is to keep all the forces, free body diagram, remember that term? All your forces vertical, and then walk like that, which means you have to become a penguin. Penguins are experts at walking on ice, so that's the trick. So that's our safety moment. The agenda for today is composed of 7 items, and it's going to be talk, class exercise, talk, class exercise, talk, class exercise, and then conclusion. Like I said, we're not falling asleep under my watch. So a little bit about myself. I actually have been an engineer for 13 years, and it's the same amount of time I've worked for Enbridge. So somebody said they had ATCO experience their whole career, that I have Enbridge experience my whole career. I am a civil engineer, and I have a master's in construction management. So Enbridge hired me to be a project engineer, to work in construction projects, manage budgets, schedules, manpower, materials. I was doing everything except design, because that's what we had consultants for. So I was on the owner side. In the middle of all that, we had 3 children. And I don't know how we did it. We're both project managers. We have them every 6 years. So there's a 17-year-old, an 11-year-old, and a 5-year-old. But no, we did not plan it that way. I think when you send a baby to kindergarten, that's when you get pregnant or something. So when I got hired by Enbridge, it was 2 weeks after school ended. So it was perfect timing. I thought being an engineer was going to be enough. All I need to do is an engineer. And years started passing, and promotions were not coming fast enough. So a little bit of the talk today will be about how I finally paid attention. And through trial and error, because we all do it, we never listen to our mentors. Through trial and error, I found these 3 lessons that have helped me get a little bit of that corporate success that they talk about. So hopefully they will work for you too. I work for Enbridge Pipelines. We operate the longest pipeline system and the most complex pipeline system in the world. The amount of oil that we transport is 2.2 million barrels per day. That's enough to fuel 5.5 million cars. If we ever go out of business, 5.5 million cars will not be fueled that day. That's pretty much how we think of it. And our job now is to make sure we keep the oil in the pipeline. So you probably know we're in the media a lot. And our mission is that we're going to make money by transporting oil. Single job is to keep the oil in the pipeline. It's very easy when you look at it that way. Who was here last year at this conference? A few of you? Okay. You had the opportunity, the luck, to listen to our VP for the Gateway Project, Janet Holder. And I actually went to the website for the conference and I listened to her presentation. And the single most powerful phrase that she had at that presentation was, "I never saw a glass ceiling and I never looked for one." So they tell us that because, for whatever reason, structural reasons or systemic reasons, we cannot make it all the way up in the corporate world. They call it a glass ceiling. Janet said she never saw one. And she never actually looked for one, which is kind of interesting. So when Rhonda and Kim were talking this morning, they kept saying the same thing over and over: rise above it. Rise above it. So that was Janet's message. All right, class activity number 1. So I need every table to select a captain, a table captain. And that captain, please pick one, is going to open envelope number 1 on the table. So the team captain, please give a strip to every person in your table. I have at least 10. I think the tables are 8, so there'll be extras. Yes, if you have 4 people, they get 2, I guess, or more than 2. So activity number 1 is a memory that I had. When I was a little girl, I went to a birthday party, and from South America, Colombia, we have piñatas. And when the piñata broke, all this confetti fell on us. Do you remember the feeling the last time you were showered with confetti? Maybe it was a wedding, maybe it was your wedding. Maybe it was a birthday party for kids. What was that feeling? Can somebody tell me what feeling they had when you get showered with confetti?
Well, I'm Colombian, so I can relate to that. Having the spotlight and kind of success, and it's just kind of sparkling around you.
How old were you?
Wow, 6 and 7.
You already felt successful at 6 years old. That's exactly what confetti is supposed to do. Any other feelings besides that one? Who felt sad? Depressed? It's impossible. You cannot. You cannot feel sad when you're showered with confetti. So that's what we're trying to do with this exercise. One of my mentor's advice when I was telling her I wanted to be a boss at work, she said, sometimes you're going to feel low. Remember that you have confetti in your pocket. So put your hand in your pocket and imagine that you have a big pile of confetti in your pocket. Once in a while, it's invisible so nobody else can see it. So imagine you have confetti in your pocket. Pick any color you want. Mine is gold, by the way. And every time you need a pick-me-up, just take the confetti out and just throw it out and just wait for the confetti to fall on you. That's it. That's exactly how you're gonna evoke these feelings. And because we're engineers and we don't believe anything we cannot see, I got you the jewel so you can bedazzle yourselves. So they're adhesive, so you can peel them and put them all over you. When I did it, I put it on my hands. But you can do it on your nails, on your shoes. My 5-year-old put them on my face. And then you can have them the whole presentation so you can remember that feeling. Because on your path to success, there's going to be a lot of peaks and valleys, and you need to stay the course. And having this confetti as your backup will be super useful. So decorate yourselves. I'll give you a minute. They actually sell these to decorate your iPhone, so you can put them on your iPhone too. Excellent. So now comes the lesson. We are amazing already. And I think it was Kim or Rhonda? I think Rhonda. Rhonda said it this morning. We survived engineering school. We are awesome. You know how many people say they will never study engineering because it's so hard? We made it. So you're already awesome. You just need to be reminded of it once in a while. So the purpose of this exercise is to remind you that you're being showered with confetti all day long and you don't even realize it. Sometimes you wait for other people to shower the confetti on you, but that happens once in a while. You need this every day. So please remember that. Okay, so now let's do a little bit of talking before the next exercise. Who here feels that they are on a path to success already? So few. A whole table over there. It's awesome. Let's talk a little bit about what corporate success means. So, what is the corporate world? Anybody want to volunteer a couple of words what the corporate world is? And yes, you're allowed to say negative words. Come on. Sorry? Competitive?
Old boys club.
All boys club? Soulless. Nice. Sorry? Conflict resolution. Structure, very structured, definitely very structured. Hierarchy, exactly. Money, profit-driven, exactly, yeah. A couple more? Coffee. Say that again. Fast-paced. These are all words to describe this behemoth that's called the corporate world. And we are trying to be successful there. So you need to understand what the rules of the game are before you try to play the game. Some people quit. They don't want to do the rules. They don't want to follow the rules of the corporate world. But some of us want to. These are just the rules of the game. You can decide to be a very good corporate leader, meaning you care about the environment, you care about people, you care about the company, and you care about society. Or you can choose to be a bad corporate leader. Just because you're a good person doesn't mean you don't fit in the corporate world. In fact, we need more good people in the corporate world. So that's exactly what it is. A couple more words that I would add are matrix organization. You're not working by yourself. You are one of many departments, and the departments are working with each other. Sometimes you borrow people from one department to work for you, and you give them back after the project is over. So it's not like if you own your own business. If you have your own business, you're the boss, and you have your workers, that's it, and your clients. Corporation is hundreds of people working together every day. So it's a little bit of understanding what the corporation is. And the last word is diversity. Diversity, and Rhonda said it, I said Kim. Kim said it this morning. In fact, I think it was my question. Diversity. The study that she showed from Forbes magazine that said that the more women we have in the corporate world, the more successful the corporation will be, is because you need the skills from all kinds of different people to be able to be successful. If everybody thinks like you, they might miss something that a person with a different perspective will see. So corporations need young people, middle-aged people, old people. They need men, they need women. They need students, co-ops. They need early level professionals, they need people leaders, they need senior leaders. We need all kinds. In fact, we need different cultures too, different races, because different countries have different experiences, and when we put them together, less likely or more likely to be successful, less likely to make a mistake. So diversity is another one. Now, the other word is success, because it's kind of hard to define what success is. Super hard. Can anybody tell me what success means to them? Is it more chocolate every day? Achieving the goals that you had for yourself, for your family, for your team. Correct. Do you know what those goals will be? They change over time? Okay. Does your team ever write them down? Right. Does your family ever write them down? We're organized at work, right? We write the objectives, but at home, it'll happen. Does anybody have a personal success they want to share with us? I have prizes, by the way. So who wants to share a personal success? Maybe it hasn't happened yet, or maybe already did. Sure.
Should I use the microphone?
Oh yeah, good idea. It's your prize.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name's Leanna. I work for Husky, in case we haven't met. So a personal success story for me. In my spare time, I do triathlons. And I've done Ironman a couple times, and I've always had a really tough day with it. So I decided that I was going to do one in August of this year. And I was going to make it my goal that I was going to have my best possible day. So I wrote it on a little Post-it note, and I put it on my cubicle at work. Make Ironman your best day possible. And I told everybody that this was what I was going to do. And so when I was having a tough time and I wasn't feeling like things were going my way, I had people that would tell me, hey, Leanna, this is your goal. You want to make it your best day possible. And if anybody's ever done any sort of long distance sports, you have ups and downs over the course of your day. And sometimes you feel great and sometimes you feel really bad. And so of course on the day of the race, I had ups and I had downs, and I actually thought I was going to have to pull out of the race. My husband basically told me, no, you're not. Get going. Remember what you said to yourself, that it was going to be your best day possible. And so I think the thing that was successful about the goal was that I wrote it down and I shared it. And so everybody knew what it was that I was working for, and I had cheerleaders that helped. And then just believing in myself too, eventually to get to that point. So
That's perfect. Big applause for. And that's a personal success goal. When you do a corporate success goal, it's kind of the same thing. You have to write it down. Like I'm already thinking the sticky note. It's probably yellow, right? It was blue? Good, now even better. So she had that blue sticky note on her board. So when you do a corporate success goal, it's the same thing. You write it down, and you read it every day, and you tell everybody. It's embarrassing sometimes to share your personal stuff with people, especially a corporate goal like something that everybody knows is going to be hard to achieve. I want to be director of this company next year, something like that. But if you don't share it with them, you're not going to have that team behind you reminding you, remember you want to be a director? And one of those people you tell may be the person that recommends you for the director position. So it's, any way you look at it, writing down your objective and telling people about it is always a positive outcome. Can anybody share a corporate success goal? Something they already achieved or they're in the process of seeking? Come on, I have a prize. Corporate success goal. None of you have corporate success. Okay.
Thanks. I'm Heather Irving. I work for ConocoPhillips. My success was my first role coming out of university, which was a few years ago now. I was moved to Drayton Valley, where they had never before had any field engineers, let alone a very young female one. And my goal there was to make a relationship with the workers in that area, one that was mutually beneficial. And it took the better part of 2 years, and it was not very easy. But by the time that I left, they'd actually asked or demanded that if they were taking me back early, that they send a replacement, because they didn't know how they would do it without me.
Nice. Let me ask you a couple of questions, Heather. No, come back. Go to the microphone, it's okay. I want to ask you a couple of questions about this goal. So the odds were against you already. No one had ever seen a field engineer there. Why do we need a field engineer? And then to top it all off is a young person. Did you ever write down this objective, or was it just mental?
I didn't write it down because I would like to have it, to write that down and put it on my desk there. Like I knew what I was up against already. So my goal was to quietly slide in, gain some trust, really work with them, help them where I could without bullying my way into what I thought my position was, and
Correct.
prove myself to them without really letting them know what I was doing.
So it was a covert operation.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it. Halfway through those 2 years, did you almost quit?
No, never.
Okay, what
Not
kept you
even
going?
The small successes, you really have to take those in stride, and I think there were some really rough and tumble people that I worked with, and you would have a small success, you'd be able to help them with something, even if it wasn't my biggest work priority.
Mm-hmm.
If I could find the time to do it, I would do it to prove to them that, you know, you can come to me with these things, I will help you out where I can, and the little things where, you know, it's a big issue to them, and I took a little bit of time just to help them out, make it better for their workday. That really proved me up to them, and then when I went to them and, you know, needed help with something or needed them to bring me information, it was very easy to get that. So a lot of those challenges that are difficult to, in the beginning, became very easy because I'd help them and they were very willing to do the same.
How did you judge success?
How did I judge it?
How did you say, today, this is the day I'm successful at this?
I would guess it would have been probably somewhere in the middle, where I showed up to work every day, and, you know, I'd have somebody sitting in my office waiting for me to give me, you know, something else for that day, and I didn't have to go seek my work anymore. It started coming.
They trusted you.
It started coming to me, and yeah, it was pretty clear that I fit in. They actually started, they had a hockey league, and somebody borrowed equipment and brought it in for me, so I had to go play with them on a Friday afternoon. I've never played hockey before in my life. And they were pretty good with me. I probably got bowled over a couple of times, but yeah, I knew when they invited me and made me do that, it was pretty clear they'd taken me in.
That's cool. Thank you very much. Another applause for him. So, what is success to you? It's a very personal question, and I love this photo because we have many different goals. Some are work, some are health related, some are family, some are hobby related, some are about our bodies, some are about leadership, some are about spirituality. So that could be your list of goals. Back in January 2014, I was asked during a leadership training session to write a list of 50 wishes. 50 wishes. And I thought, impossible. I can come up with a couple, maybe. So in the lobby of the Westin Hotel in Edmonton, it took me 10 minutes to write a list of 50 wishes. The first 3 were hard, extremely hard, because I was still using common sense. I cannot never achieve this. After the first 3, I realized they told us to freely write, not to question it, just to write. After the first 3, the other 47 went piece of cake. So it's another something to think about. Now, we talked about the corporate world, and half of you had a bit of a less than positive words to say. What women do is quit. They leave the corporate world. They open their own company. They stay home with their kids. They will do anything to be successful other than the corporate world. So I was reading the book Lean In by, what's her name? Sheryl Sandberg. Yeah. And she said, before you quit, negotiate. You know you're going to quit. Might as well and ask for double your salary. They're going to say no, right? You're already quitting. Ask for part-time work. You're already quitting. What can they do to you that you already haven't decided yourself? So think before you quit. The rate of women opening their own companies has doubled in the last 20 years, I think. Doubled. From one side, it's very positive, because women want to be entrepreneurs. They want to open their own stuff, sell their own products. But that's not why they quit. They quit because the corporate world squeezed them to the point where they had no choice over their work hours, no flexibility. They couldn't even have some kind of work-life balance. So all those people that opened their own business, they were pushed out of the corporate world. So if you ever read the book, Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg, I recommend it, highly recommend it. And the title means she wants us to lean into leadership positions as opposed to lean away from it, which is what most of us tend to do. Okay, who likes flowcharts? So here we have a decision flowchart. One of my mentors said to me, it's all fine and dandy to talk about corporate success and how to get there, but are you ready? Was his question. So are you ready for corporate success? If the answer is no, these are your 4 questions. Do you need more skills? Do you need more time? Do you need more help? And what's your action plan? The need more skills is a very common one. We think that having a bachelor's in engineering and a master's in engineering and, I don't know, a master in arts is not enough to get a promotion at work to senior engineer. That's a lot of education. So most women, they say, okay, before I get ask for that promotion, I'm going to get another title, another degree. That could be fine, except that you want the promotion now, not in 4 years or 3 years or 2 years when you graduate. So if you need more skills, make sure that you run this by your mentor. Because the skills you may need are not technical, they may be leadership or management or people management-wise. Do you need more time? Kim said something awesome. She said she worked 4 days a week for the first 10 years of her career. I actually work 4 days a week as well. And I've been doing that for 10 years, coincidentally. But I don't want to stop. unless they send me to Russia, I suppose. Sometimes you need more time. Maybe you need more time. 1 more year, and then you'll be able to go for that corporate success, whatever that looks like. Need more help. This morning, somebody asked a question about partners. Who was that? Yes. Yeah. What kind of partner do you need to get corporate success? This should be part of your prospective husband list. Unfortunately. Because the same way they say behind every powerful man, there's a woman. That woman helped him. She should get half that salary, really. And she does, actually. But not the recognition. So sometimes you need more help. And that comes from your partner, comes from your family, comes from your friends. My mother's still young enough. I don't need elderly care, but I do need childcare. So if I didn't have the daycare, and if I didn't have my husband Norm, and if I didn't have my mom living with us, it would be much harder for me to come to Calgary for 3 days for this awesome conference. Because daycare is only open until 5:30 or 6 p.m. So after that, what happens? So sometimes you need more help, and we can actually get more help by telling people our goals. If you tell your partner your goal, you might get a sponsor right there. And what's the action plan? I guess it's easier when you're young. You say, oh, I have time to be successful. Some of us are not that young. We need to make the plan now. And I was coming up to my 40th birthday, and that's when I wrote the plan. Somehow the numbers seemed to motivate me. I need to do it now. Oh my God, I'm going to be 40. Now, if the answer is yes, are you ready for corporate success? Guess what you have to do? The same 4 questions. Exactly the same. So, activity number 2. So, team captains, open envelope number 2, please. So, every table has a collection of flashcards. Most tables have 2 flashcards per person. Some tables have only 1 per person. I think there's about 4 tables that did not get enough flashcards. So, I'm not going to ask you to write 50 wishes right now, but you're going to do it tonight, right? Tonight, you're going to write the list of 50 wishes. We're going to break up our wish list into 2. You're going to do your 10-year goals and your 5-year goals. And for the sake of time, only do 3 goals per card. So 3 goals for your 10-year plan. So these are your long-term goals. And 3 goals for your short-term plan, which is 5 years. Do the 10-year goals first. Don't do the 5-year yet. The 10-year goals first. So these are the big ones, the giant wishes. I recommend doing 2 for business, 2 for your career, and 1 for your life. So 2 for your career and 1 for your life. And I'll give you a good 5 minutes for that one. So I'm just going to repeat the instructions. So there's 2 cards. One is the 10-year goals. One is the 5-year goals. 3 wishes per card. 2 business, 1 life. For your 10-year, do those first. And then 2 business, 1 life for your 5-year. I'm going to stop after the 10-year goal, so don't do the 5-year goals just yet. Okay, 1 minute to go. All right, let's talk about those goals then. So the purpose of the 10-year goals is that's the big one. That's the big dream that you have. I personally don't like having 10-year goals because that's too long. I want it now. So I tend to do 2-year goals and then 1-year goals as opposed to 10 and 5. But then when I start executing it, I realize, yeah, I need more time. That's why they make you do the 10 and 5. Somebody share with us their 2 business and 1 life goal. I have prizes. This is actually a dream book. There's a list of dreams in there. What's your name?
Lindsay. So my first one says I would like my work to be meaningful and to make a difference in the world. And the second one is I would like to be surrounded with people who also want their work to be meaningful and to make a difference in the world. And my third one is I want to be continually challenged as a human in order to keep growing.
Nice. I'm going to ask a couple of questions, but here's
Sure.
your prize. So the first one was to do meaningful work.
Yeah,
Okay. So how would you judge success?
just how I feel.
Ah. How would you feel? Happy, motivated?
Happy, yeah, just full. And just kind of keep making changes in order to keep feeling that fullness.
Would you like to see maybe your clients say that to you? Or
Sure,
yeah.
yeah.
The
Maybe
second
prizes would be good too.
That's right.
Yeah.
The second one was to find people that think
Yeah.
like you.
People who have that same sort of goal and aspiration.
So for example, what would be a good interview question if you're going to interview your team?
What are your 10-year goals?
Nice. She's learning. Big applause, big applause. She's learning. That's right. And the third goal was a life goal.
Yeah, so I said just to be continually challenged as a human. So put yourself in a comfortable situation, see how you handle it, and take risks. So just keep pushing yourself and not be fearful.
Correct.
Yeah.
Lululemon is the yoga clothing store. Lululemon has that bag that we all take with our purchase. And it says, every day do something that makes you, what's the word? Scared. Yeah. That's exactly what it means. Every day is exhausting. I tried it for 2 years, and it's exhausting. Eventually you get good at it, and you have to find new stuff that makes you scared because you're already a master at it. Those are your 10-year goals, right? So thank you very much. You can, So now, the 10-year goals are supposed to be your ultimate place. That's when you reach the end of your race, I guess. Now, the 5-year goals are supposed to be the stepping stones to get to that 10-year goal. So now you're going to write your 5-year goals, same as before, 2 business or 2 work ones and 1 life one. The restriction now, before you had no restriction, it was whatever was in your mind. Now the restriction is these 3 goals have to be stepping stones to the 10-year goals. You're not allowed to pick something different. Remember, you have to be consistent. So I'll give you 5 minutes for the 5-year goals. So the number 1 business has to be the same as number 1 business on the other side. They have to be related. 2 business will be the same, and the 1 life will be supporting the other life one. Okay, 1 minute to go. Okay, so the 5-year goals. I have a prize for whoever comes to the front to share their 5-year goals with us. Perfect. Perfect.
Does it work with the dress?
Oh yeah, black and black.
That's what I thought. Perfect. I'm Jill. I work for Acuren. I'm out of St. John, New Brunswick. So I came out here to meet more lovely female folk of our sorts. So
From over there?
yeah.
Oh my God, it's awesome, thank you.
So my 5-year goals. Do I need to say my 10 so you understand where I'm coming from? Or?
That's a good idea, yeah.
Okay. So my first 10-year goal is to have a child or to have children. And my 5-year goal for that is to work on prioritizing my life and time and my balance between those two things. My 10-year was to have started my MBA, and mine was to continue to attend leadership workshops and work towards that. The third one was to be part of the corporate management team for my company, and I said move into a different management role than I'm currently in to diversify my experience within the company.
That's awesome, okay. So big applause for, I have questions for you actually. Don't go, come back. You get grilled now. So your first one, I'm gonna start with the corporate one. You wanna be part of the corporate management. The goal needs to be a little more accurate. Do you wanna be the president, the vice president, the senior director, or the director? Like which position do you want?
In 10 years, probably a VP.
Vice president,
Yeah.
okay. Now, your 5-year goal was to change positions to get more variety,
Yeah.
okay. So you're thinking of adding more technical world to it,
Well,
or?
right now I'm the manager of a niche service line, so it's very specific, and it's a very small percentage of what the company actually does. So if I want to move into a more corporate role, I need to probably have a better understanding of the rest of the business. So the intention was to continue to work on my management skills, but to do it in a different way. So my group is very diverse and works all over Canada. It's not hyper-focused in a single area. So it would probably do me well to get into one of those single client situations to see the idiosyncrasies that come with those types of challenges and those types of occupations.
No, you explained it very well. Now, how long have you been in the position then?
That I'm in right now?
Supervisor of this niche group?
About a year and a half.
Year and a half. Okay. Because I'm going to twist it on its head. Niche. The second you said niche, I'm thinking nobody else in the company can do what you do. Everybody else knows everything else. Might want to wait until you establish this group because you have the freedom. Nobody else knows how to do this. Establish it first. Don't leave by your own choice. Have somebody else pull you out of there. Because you're so awesome in this niche, imagine what you can do with a regular business, right? So wait until somebody pulls you out. Yeah, but then make sure that you grow this group. And then you're the subject matter expert that Rhonda was talking about. Yeah. No, the word niche was critical because nobody else can do it. Now you have maybe the brand, what she was talking about. If you move to so this is the small fishbowl. You're gonna jump in the ocean. Everybody's the same, right? You're not gonna be able to stand out just yet because there's so many people doing the same thing. But over here, yeah, it's kind of cool. Read me the first one, number 1.
The other corporate one?
Yep.
I said to have started my MBA. I want to wait. I don't want to do it right away. I think I've spoken to a few mentors within my company, and they gave the advice that you should really be in a management role for at least 5 or 10 years before pursuing an executive MBA. And so I don't think that it's something that you just suddenly do. I think there's a lot of things and a lot of steps you can take towards those types of career adjustments. So to continue to come to things like this and leadership conferences and, you know, the Disney Institute and all of those wonderful other avenues to learn and to grow as a manager, is how I want to be prepared. So when I do go to do that MBA and I have children at home, that I won't be completely overwhelmed, I guess.
Yeah.
I will be, but not as much as it could be if you haven't worked on it all the way through.
You might not have time to take the MBA anymore. You'll be a VP.
Maybe I won't need it then. Who knows?
When you said my goal is to register for the MBA, I said, isn't that an online subscription or registration? You can do it tomorrow. If you wait that long, you might already be too busy at work to be able to afford leaving your position. Do it now when there's still some semblance of work-life balance. Or there's no work-life balance.
That's gone.
Maybe you don't need the MBA. Maybe everything can be learned in the company. Yeah. That's the other thing. Take it when somebody recommends it because they need you to take the director position, but they cannot give it to you because you need to have an MBA. Wait until somebody suggests. Yeah. And the other one?
The other one was to have children.
And your 5-year goal was?
To work on my work-life balance, to make that conducive.
Not gonna work. There's never work-life balance. Do you have a husband already?
Yes.
Okay, good. So step number 1. There's biology involved in this. That's awesome. No, thank you very much. Okay, so finally we get to the meat of the presentation, although it's been a delicious appetizer. The 3 lessons. So before I start, I'm going to change the title of the presentation. These are the 3 corporate lessons for succeeding in the corporate world that engineering school never taught me. Maybe you learned it at school, but I was not taught this. I graduated in 2001, so that's a while ago. So maybe engineering schools are already teaching corporate success. So we'll try. So the 3 lessons: stand out and be noticed. And both Kim and Rhonda said that this morning. Number 2, become a people leader. And both Kim and Rhonda said that this morning. And number 3, have life-work balance. Even though I just joked that it's impossible to have work-life balance, you have to change your definition of balance. It's not 50-50, nope. So those are the 3 lessons. So for the last 2 years, I've been applying those 3 lessons consistently every day for 2 years, and it's giving me some measure of corporate success. And I'll tell you more about that later. So I can prove that they work because for the last 2 years, they actually worked. The first 11 years of my career, I thought being an engineer was enough. But no, there's many different components to getting corporate success. One of those is being an engineer, and the other is the ones I'm going to talk about. So stand out and be noticed. Lesson number 1. That's it. And Rhonda was doing that excellently this morning. She was preening herself and telling us all the great things that she does. That's exactly what you have to do. Men do it all the time already. They promote themselves all the time. They volunteer for projects. They say, I can do this. They're already doing it. So we have to do it too. Now, can somebody tell me what gender this bird is? Male. In the bird world, the boys have to look fancy. The boys have to be pretty. This picture was next to one for a peahen, a female peacock, and she was normal. She didn't need any of that stuff. She was just walking around waiting for the nicest peacock to walk around. So in the bird world, it's the males that have to work hard at attracting the female. But the message is the same. That's pretty much what we have to look like at work. And I think it was Rhonda that said, You have to find ways of over-delivering. If somebody needs something from you, give it to them, but add something else to it. So wow them even more. What are examples of standing out in the office? The good way, not the bad way. Any suggestions on standing out at the office, being noticed at the office? Who's wearing red shoes right now? 4 girls. See, that's one way. Dress like a boss. I think it was Rhonda that was saying that she'd rather be in sweatpants, but to get the promotion she wanted, she needed to look like what the leader is supposed to look like. Who's wearing leopard print shoes? Yep, 2. I saw somebody else at the lunch line. There's 2 people at least. Okay. Who wears, I don't know, who wears lots of jewelry at work? Yep. Did you see the necklace that Laura was wearing? I want that necklace. Big stones, really? I want it. Big pink stones with white and, it's kind of sad that we're still impressed by how people look, but those are the rules of the game. There's no way you're gonna let somebody fix your car that doesn't look that you can trust them, right? So same applies to work. Your boss is never gonna promote you to the biggest project in the department if they think that you're not gonna be able to rise to the occasion. What are other ways of standing out in the office? Sorry? Performance. Exactly, be accurate. Being on time. Yeah. Early, yeah. It impresses them. It sucks, but it impresses them. Because you're there. Every time they go to your office, you're there. So that's maybe a little sacrifice you want to make just until they give you the promotion, and then you can goof off. No. Don't be afraid to present. Like, present what?
Make presentations to management.
Yep. Volunteer, right?
Yeah.
Totally volunteer. Yeah. What else? How else can you stand out and be noticed at the office?
Be proactive or
Mm-hmm. Yep. Get involved. Yeah. Even.
volunteer work for them.
Yeah. The first time I met the vice presidents of Enbridge was volunteering for the United Way to put makeup on them. I thought I was just volunteering for this event, and all of a sudden they say, here, makeup. Okay, good. Who had the paint? The senior management team. They know my name now. I helped put nylons on them. So those are very good lessons of standing out at the office. The fact that there's so few women engineers already, you already have the edge on that, because you're standing out. There's no way they're going to miss one girl in a room full of 30 engineers, male. The other thing is, my mentor was saying that you have to dress for the job that you want. Not the job you have, but dress for the job that you want. You have to be accurate at work, be excellent at work, as if you had the job that you want. So perform like a director would. In a couple years, they're going to promote you to manager. So you have to perform already at that level. So that stand out and be noticed. Now, Hollywood teaches me a lot of things. All my lessons come from Hollywood. This movie is from 1988. I watched it in a critical time in my life, 14 years old, and it's that age where you realize, okay, I'm a girl, and I want to do all these things. How am I going to achieve them? So the story is Tess McGill is a secretary, and Tess McGill could not afford university, so she was taking college courses. She was taking anything she could get her hands on, even speech classes to improve her New York accent so she could speak like a normal person. She was taking emerging markets classes in night school. All these courses to get maybe a certificate, but it wasn't enough. They wouldn't let her into the management training program, the trainee program. because she didn't have a university degree. So what Tess had to do was completely overhaul her thinking. She couldn't wait for somebody to give it to her, the projects that she wanted. She had to go get it herself. And this is where the Hollywood fantasy comes in. She actually pretends to be her boss. We would never do that in real life. But in the movie, it works. Her boss is Sigourney Weaver. This is Melanie Griffith. She has a skiing accident and breaks her leg over in Sweden or Switzerland. So for a whole month, Melanie Griffith was the boss. And she pretended to be the boss. The only reason she did this is because her project idea, her boss was going to steal it. So she was presenting it as her own idea. So what Tess did is present her idea to the client. And it was very successful, except Sigourney Weaver shows up at the end of the movie and ruins the fantasy. And says, she's my secretary, it's my idea. Of course, being Hollywood, happy ending, the client figures out that it was her idea in the first place, fires Sigourney Weaver, and hires Tess McGill. So she shows up at the office, she thinks she's going to be the secretary for a bigger firm, and they make her an analyst, project analyst, with a secretary. So it was a great movie to watch because the basic lessons are there. You have to go get it yourself. The reason why she had to change her outfit is because she was wearing 400 bracelets and big giant earrings and puffy 80s hair. So doesn't mean we have to change our outfit because everybody looks pretty put together. We're good. We're all pretty. She had to change. Now, the second lesson is become a people leader. One of the reasons people go into engineering is because they think they don't want to have to deal with people. I'm going to be a human calculator. I don't have to talk to anybody. But first day at work, you realize you have to talk all the time. To your coworkers, to your boss, to the secretary, to the clients, to the contractors. So it turns out that we couldn't escape this whole human relationship, people management thing. Now, after 13 years, actually 12 years of technical work, I asked, can I be promoted to the next level? And they say, well, we need you to manage people now. And I wasn't ready. So I asked, what do I need to be ready? And they made me a list. And once I achieved all those things, I was ready to become a people leader. So sometimes you have to become a people manager. In Enbridge, we have two choices. We can become specialists, so we stay as technical people for the rest of our career. And choice number 2 is become a people leader. So now you have a team of people below you. You're not the technical leader anymore. You're leading technical people. So becoming a people leader is a great way to get promoted at work because the world is thirsty for leadership. Have you ever heard that term before? The world is thirsty for leadership. Lots of people want to be bosses because of the money. A lot of people want to be bosses because of the power. But what we need is leaders. Leaders, people that actually care about humans, grow them, train them, and promote them. So these are the common traits of a good people leader. Do we have any people leaders in the room, people that have others reporting to them? I'm guessing about 10% of the room. Okay. Who has more than 5 people? Who's leading more than 5 people? Okay. More than 10? More than 15? How many people are you leading? 20. Oh my God. I heard that the magic number was 6. Yeah. After 6, you no longer can do it by yourself. You need to now have sub-supervisors. 20 people, that's amazing. Amazing. Can I ask you to come to the front for a couple of questions? Big applause. So, how did you get this promotion?
Voluntold? No, I was asked to apply for it.
Who did? Who asked you?
The director, so a senior level manager. They put the position up and I was requested to apply for it.
See? They recognized it. Were you happy to be asked?
Yeah, I didn't think I was ready though. It was a big shift to go from a technical role to a mess. So yeah, I guess that's.
20 people. How many of them are full-time and how many contractors?
They're all full time.
They're all full-time.
Yeah, but they're not all in my geographic city. So some of them are satellite, and I have 2 offices.
Okay, so 2 different cities.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about the team meetings, I guess. How often does your team meet?
We usually meet in a more segmented variation. So the people in one office, I have someone that pretty much runs the day-to-day for me, but there's still all my responsibilities. So we meet with that team quarterly. I talk with the individual that does most of the day-to-day for me there on a daily basis. The other team, we try to meet as often as possible, but the type of work that we do a lot of diagnostic work, and it's very location specific. So anytime we can get more than 2 or 3 people in the same geographic area, we're big on going to lunch, because it's a time that's wasted anyway. So it's always, if I buy you lunch, then we get to talk about work. So I guess that's how we do it. It's hard to get everybody together. We try to do it twice a year in a more social aspect, but from day to day, I'm on the phone a lot. And anytime we can grab 2 or 3 people together, we try to meet. And then it's harder I've got a few new EITs, and it's hard to ensure that they stay engaged and they feel like they have someone they can go to, and not feel isolated, because that's something that I know is an ongoing issue when you have a very dynamic office. True.
Do you have to do annual performance reviews now in November?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you already know their objectives for the year.
Yeah, we go through objectives. We meet, like I said, we try to meet as often as possible, but there's a formal performance review and assessment. Try to do them in the month of November, as you said, and we would bring back the year priors and see if we've met those goals and maintained those and project on to the next year.
Cool. If you had to divide your day into regular operations and people management issues, problems, what would be the percentage split?
That I would like it to be, or that it is right
now?
No,
Reality. Nice try.
I would say probably 40 to 50% is people management, and the other half is actual scheduling and planning and clients and that part of it. When you're not around, people tend to be more needy, just because the volume of people, right? So in order to give 20 people 10 minutes of my time, that equates to 200 minutes. So it eats up a lot of time.
It does.
It can, yeah.
Do you guys have a team goal, or can you describe that mission for the team? Or?
It's a work in progress right now. It's actually something we've talked with my colleagues that are in different cities. We've had 2 or 3 meetings now. We've been trying to really hash out that goal. Our corporate team has given a slogan and three goals that we want to be as a corporation, and we're still in the process of trying to define what that means for the service line, because we like I said before, we are a niche, so we do deviate a little bit from what everyone else does, the other 95%. So it's kind of a work in progress right now. I think that's probably what leads to some of the confusion, in the sense that unless you have something very clearly defined that everybody's on board with, there's always going to be some questions. So it's a work in progress.
True. Have you ever had to fire anybody?
Yes.
How many?
I've fired 1 person. It was probably the worst day I've ever had at work.
It's horrible. Yeah. What's your support network for being a people leader, I guess?
I have a very good working relationship with the director for the service line. We probably talk 5 times a day and maybe 3 times a day on the weekends. So it's a very, very much a lot of support there, because of the shift we're going through currently. So there's a lot of support there, but there's just not enough time to do it all.
No way. No.
And so that's a work in progress. The intention is we're looking to tear the team down to a little bit smaller, more manageable piece. Like you said,
Correct.
An interstitial place. It's just hard to find
team leads,
the right people. Exactly. So we're trying to do that from within, but it takes time.
Why do you think they asked you to apply for this job? Do you have any of those?
I'd like to think that I do.
That's probably why they asked you. Yeah, yeah. It's a very powerful position to be a people leader. Everything that you say now has 10 times the meaning. Before, when you were a worker and you said, oh, I hate my job. Oh, well, fine, everybody says they hate their job. But when you're the manager and you say, I hate my job, all of a sudden 20 people think, oh, right? So it's a very powerful position to be in. And I always tell people that if the good people don't apply to be the leaders, the bad people will. Because it's a lot of power, right? And money sometimes. And yeah, we want good people to be our bosses.
I think one thing that I've realized that I guess you don't fully comprehend sometimes is how much, you said, how much influence you can have on your team. So going to the office and, getting off a flight that gets in at midnight, and you're in at 8 o'clock in the morning because you've got a client coming in and you're exhausted and I don't know, the dog was sick or whatever the situation is, you get home. And if you bring that into the office and you're like, oh, I'm exhausted today, the attitude in the office is completely changed. Even if you actually are exhausted, but you put on a happy face, so you're not faking it, but you're like, yeah, but today's a good day, the sun's shining. It's unbelievable the amount of impact it has on the individuals around you. So it's not lying or faking it. It's taking that sunnier side of things. It could be
good
worse.
Character. Yeah.
Yeah, it has a huge impact on the individuals that you work with and that you have to work with on a daily basis. And I think that goes not just for management teams, but people who are leaders within the team themselves. That positive attitude does so much for the rest of the day. If you're sitting there going, oh, is it 5 o'clock yet? Oh, is it 5 o'clock yet? 5 o'clock never comes.
Yeah.
Right?
It's true.
But if you're there and you're trying to get a ton of things done, you look and you're like, oh my goodness, it's 5 o'clock. And all these great things have happened today. So.
True. And the last thing I want to say is when I was a senior project manager, it was crushing me. The job was crushing me because the more you know, the bigger projects they give you. Then they asked me to become a supervisor. Actually, no, I told them. I asked 7 times, can I get an interview? Can I get an interview? And my balance came back. Like, you think that because you become a people leader, more work will pile on you? No, now you're forced to delegate. Forced is a great word because it was horrible. I want to do it all, and I had to be forced to delegate. Bite my tongue. I'm not allowed to give solutions anymore, which is funny, eh? I just want to tell them what to do. No, you have to inspire them and motivate them to come up with the right answer.
It's very hard, and they're happier for it, too.
Totally. So I felt bad. I was doing less work, but I was doing a better job. So thank you for a big applause, too. So yeah, don't be scared to be a people leader, actually. Kim said it this morning, we're already good at teamwork. Imagine if you're the leader and can actually do the stuff that you want to do, especially if you have good goals. So this is another movie. This one is recent, 2010. Morning Glory. This is the girl from The Notebook. What's her name? Sorry? Rachel McAdam. Yeah, McAdam. She's Canadian. So her role is a TV producer. So she is the manager of the entire production team. The writers, the makeup artists, the TV presenters, the props people, everybody. So her job is to run the TV show every morning. Wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, kind of like the Today Show. She had a university degree, so she had the credentials, but they fired her from her job because the TV station manager wanted to promote his nephew. And they couldn't pay 2 TV producers, so they had to fire her. And they kept the nephew, the TV producer, of the TV station manager. So now she's out. And she's out at middle of her young age to start from 0 again. So I'm not going to show you the videos, but go to wingclips.com and they show you the interview, the job interview that she does. She walks into that room. Jeff Goldblum, by the way, is the interviewer. Jeff Goldblum is hilarious. And he doesn't want to hire her. He doesn't. But she forces him to hire her. She says, this TV show is like me. I need a second chance. The TV show needs a second chance. Give it to me. I'm the perfect person for this. And he said, well, you're being ridiculous. So she walks out of the room. She says, thank you for your time. By the time she makes it to the plaza, he calls her and says, the job is yours. Why do people get promoted? Why do people get promoted at work? Because they ask for it. Because they ask for it and because they say, I'm going to make it better and this is my plan. So that's lesson number 3. Now, lesson number 4, I love this photo, is have life-work balance. Now, life-work balance is a misnomer because we're at work more than we are at home. So what I mean by work-life balance is find out what you want out of your life and make sure that you have time to do it. And mix it with the work that you love, and then you can have some semblance of balance between the two. So the reason I put Superwoman there is because it feels like we're superwomen when we try to get it all, right? She doesn't have any kids. She doesn't have a boss. She's an entrepreneur. But you do feel like a superwoman at the end of that week when you manage to do everything. Everything that was on your list, all the life stuff, all the work stuff, it does feel like you're on top of the world. There's a book I want to recommend. It's called Thrive, Thrive, Thrive. It was written by Arianna Huffington from the Huffington Post on the internet. And she talks about how power and money became the definition of success, and then they forgot about thriving. Are you healthy? Are you happy? Are you doing the things you want to do? So those are the 3 rules now. Power, money, and thriving. That would be the true definition of success. Another movie, 1987. What's the name of this actress? Diane Keaton. Diane Keaton used to be young, by the way. Yes. Diane Keaton was a high-power VP in her company, and she wanted to become a partner. But then she was inherited. She received a baby in an inheritance from a faraway cousin. So obviously, she did it all wrong. She brought the baby to work. Hire a babysitter. That's so easy. She had the money to pay for a babysitter. But no, she brings the baby to the office, and then they tell her that she's not going to get promoted, and then she's not good for the job because now she has a baby in her office. She created her own company and became even more powerful than the people that fired her. So she actually was offered the job to come back after her company became successful. She turned it down. She says, if you can put this baby food in 400 stores, so can I. So the end was that she was working and had the baby in her home office. So I love that movie. Now, I was going to have activity number 3, but we're out of time, right? Okay. I was going to have you do an interview, but we're good. Remember this. If somebody asks you why do you want this job, or no, why should I give you this job, whatever job that you want at work, why should I give you this job? Can you answer it? Why not? And then you have to add more to it because they're going to ask you. I believe it was Rhonda that said it this morning. Every day at work is an interview. You walking down the hall to go get a cup of coffee from the Oasis, people are seeing you walk by. They're going to see everything. Who you're talking to, how you're talking, whether you're on the phone, whatever you're wearing. They're going to remember everything. Go to a meeting, do a presentation, a safety moment. They're going to see everything you're doing. How you talk, how you engage the team, how you answer questions. Every day at work is an interview. So if you can answer that, why should I give you this job? You're good. Because if somebody asks you and you don't know how to answer it, don't blame me. Don't blame me. You need to know how to answer this. It's kind of like put 3 or 4 sentences together of why you should get this job. And this was going to be the sample interview. So you start out by saying, this role fits my skills and experience perfectly. And they're going to ask you why, and you have to answer. Then they're going to ask you, what specifically attracted you to this job posting? That's a negative question, actually. They want reasons to get you out of the room. Why do you want to? Yeah. The last one is, now they like you, and they ask you, are you okay to add management to your technical role? This is a I like you question. And in closing, those are the 3 lessons, and we're done. Thank you.